Welcome back to another episode of Jedi Academy. Today I am joined with Ranger. Ranger, do you want to introduce yourself?
Do I have to? It's too early in the morning. I haven't had coffee yet.
Well, go and grab your coffee and we could always come back to you, buddy.
No, I can do that. I've got my coffee. I had some eggs, so I got the protein in the brain, so I'm good to go. But I'm Ranger J 1999 from Reality Skewed Gamers, and of course I'm back on this awesome show of Smithy D. I'm excited, dude.
I'm always excited for this. And today we've also got Warrior with us. Warrior, if you wanted to carry on and introduce yourself, buddy.
I think he muted his mic.
He's not currently in the chat. So anyway, we'll come back to Warrior, so that is cool. He should be back in a second.
He probably had to get some more coffee. He did this to us.
Yeah,
But
he's gone for
I
some
think,
coffee. That's what it is.
yeah, he's got to have it. I mean, it's like the lifeblood of living.
That's
But
it.
it's like,
Yeah.
but it's like what time there for you? Like 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon?
2 o'clock at the moment, so it's not too early, but I'm a little bit tired. You know how it is. You probably know. 9 a.m. there is probably my 1 a.m. is like your 9 a.m.
Well, you have
Late
a
night.
weird sleeping schedule, like because your schedule gets like what? You go to bed really late and then get up really late too.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless my little one doesn't wake me up on there. So Warrior's back. He's back in here. So Warrior, if you
Oh
wanted to
Lord!
continue and introduce yourself, buddy.
Hey, how's it going, guys? This is your man Warrior. Sorry I had my audio drop. Apologize for that.
And we've got
Patron,
Grande
I
as
just
well.
got back on.
Yay!
Oh my God!
We have Grande Patron as well.
Thanks for being on time, poo poo head.
I know it.
I know you're like me. You're like coffee now.
Yeah. So
Oh crap! I was making coffee. I better go back to that.
Yeah, because it's like an hour or two earlier for Warrior. Holy moly, man. And he's like the most chipper of all of us. What the heck is going on with that?
I know we're
Yeah,
I don't know. I think people tell me that I'm naturally caffeinated. I think that's their way of saying that I'm hyper.
or have ADD. You go different routes with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Let's have a look. So
Or you're just creative.
go creative. So how this show works, guys, is this is a live interactive show where you're going to be able to throw your questions at us and we're going to try our best to answer, summarize it. So how it works is the question that you've got, give us all the information that you have and we'll be able to answer it as quick as possible and give you the best advice that we know. So to start things off, because we haven't currently got any questions in chat, we're going to just talk about briefly about this Barris fix. Warrior, what is your thoughts on the change to Barris?
Well, I think it was needed because it was unintended for her to be built the way she was built. So I think that obviously when there's an rechange it to a different character if we wish to, because what we bought has changed. So that was a good way of handling it. But I'll tell you, a lot of people are like, well, she's not worth it anymore. She's not worth it. Do you want to know something insane? Warrior has not lost in Galactic War in 4 months. I actually zipped through. I even have a broken node 9 most of the time. And I got a timeout team. Stupid timeout team. And I couldn't beat it. I'm not even kidding you. I spent 2.5 hours on this node. And I couldn't lose, but I couldn't win. And it was 2.5 hours, and I couldn't beat this damn team. And I finally just hit reset. I restart. I tell people that all the time. Just hit restart and you're done, and just move on. And I had to do that. I was so frustrated, and that was a nerfed Barris that did that to me. So I'm telling you, with the right build, she's still very, very viable.
Yeah, what I did with my Zeta, when I got them back, I was just like, no, I'm putting them back on Barris. And I did. Stayed overnight, second in the arena. She's still a beast. I've got Anakin with her, General Kenobi. You're free to come and kill her if you want, because my intention isn't to stop people from getting their payout, but my intention is to hold the rank. And that's what she does. Nobody wants to, stop people from payouts and stuff, and if you do, then that's a bad, horrible move, and you're a horrible person. But at the end of the day, it's the main thing is just making sure I hold my rank. I do minimum battles at most to then get my payout. That's what I go for. I don't want to hold anyone's kind of payout. So if they beat me, they can beat me, but I'm going to make sure they work for it. I'm not going to give them the easy kind of like payout.
I think that's exactly true. I know, there's 2 or 3 guys with a Zated Barris on my arena team, and we had a big discussion about it. And I was like, look, Barris is not my number 1 kill target on your team. I mean, if we're going to look at the order that I'm killing off your characters, Barris is 2nd or 3rd or 4th. And so that means that you get quite a long time, quite a number of trips around the horn where the crit is giving you a bunch of health, because I have to work on, General Kenobi, or I have to work on, like if you got a Biggs Wedge on that team, or if you're running, an Ayla or a Fives or a Sunfac or whatever else you have on that team, because there's a bunch of, or a Rex. I mean, or a Boba Fett. I mean, there's a bunch of different things on that team to work on. Barris is not the first one I'm probably going to go for.
Yeah.
That's just me. I mean, that's 2nd or 3rd, sure. Because eventually it becomes so annoying. I have to get rid of that. But I could easily see people who just said, you know what, we're going right back on Barris. It's not a bad choice. You really, if you start looking at a Zeta other characters, you end up putting a bunch of, you end up kind of having to invest in a lot, and it's not a lot of characters that can slot onto just about any team.
Yeah, she's universal.
I think that Barris could slot into a bunch of teams. I mean, you could be running, you could be running Wedge, Biggs, and Chaz, and slot Barris in there, and you'd probably do okay. So.
Yeah, that's it. So the main thing is that it kind of diminishes the fact that these timeout teams, that there is a way to beat it, and there's now more of a strategy that you could go for Barris first. But killing Barris, is another thing altogether. Still takes a lot of work to do it. You're going to need debuffs, crits. It's going to be difficult. It's still going to be hard, but it is definitely more beatable now. Is there any more input that you guys have got on the Barrisator before we move on to the questions?
Anybody who's going to do Barris Zeta, this is the secret to the Barris Zeta, truly. And I'm telling you this. Anybody who I've seen as successful with Barris, this is what they're doing. They're putting speed on her, man. They're making her fast as heck, which, she's a healer. So my intuition is to put health mods on her and to make her as beefy as possible, so her health restoration is good. But they make her really fast, over 200 speed, easily. And what happens is she takes lots of turns because she gets all that extra turn meter. And so it makes her even faster, puts her around probably 250 to 300 if you want to compare, because of the addition. And so she's constantly taking turns, and every time she takes a turn, she's taking care of your weakest player and getting rid of all those debuffs. So she's cleansing every single turn. And when she's really fast and getting all that extra turn meter, you can't stop it. You have to kill her. But killing her, when she's fast is really, really difficult when you've got 4 other characters kicking your butt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. It's like I've set it up. I've put Boba Fett as my fastest. So if they have a TIE Fighter pilot or another Boba Fett that goes first, he's the less protection in my squad, so he's got less health. So they're going to do an AoE attack, and then pretty much my Barris is over 200 speed. What's going to happen if they do crit on that AoE attack, and then Boba gets critted, ability blocked, then what's going to happen? Barris is going to go first. She's going to do a wet noodle attack, but then she's going to cleanse the effects on Boba. Then he's going to go with his AoE attack. Bam. That's it. That's how you deal with these fast characters that are speedy, that go for these ability blocks. Straight away is something like that, and you could probably set it up. You could tamper with it, so you could get your General Kenobi to go first, second, and probably do it that way. Do you agree on that, Warrior? Because I know you had a Barrisator as well, didn't you?
Yeah, oh yeah, and definitely I agree. And I always tell people, TIE Fighter Pilot and B2 and Boba are kind of the anti-meta right now. They're the characters that you really need on your team to take it out. But I'll tell you, even yesterday when I tried to do that, newly, I wouldn't call it a nerf, but a fix to Barris. I tried to go against that timeout team, and I gotta give props to it, man. Like I said, I spent almost 3 hours, and I finally gave up because they had it built just right, and it didn't matter how much I took away their buffs. She was just too fast, and she kept up too good. So she's definitely still there. I am going to be putting my Zetas back on her. Unfortunately, when I first got my Zetas back from the game, I'm just like, ooh, I want to try a new character out. So I put it on Darth Maul, and a little bit unimpressed, honestly.
Right.
A little bit unimpressed. When you do everything heroic, it's not as impressive as a standard raid.
I'll tell you that I'm going up against a team now that is Zated Darth Vader, Zated Sid, and Zated Boba Fett all on the same team. That is, I'll tell you, the combination of Boba Fett and Vader is pretty impressive. I'm not too excited about the Sid one, but Boba Fett with Vader is pretty cool, for sure.
Destructive.
Oh,
Yeah.
big time destructive.
So I mean, it's just like it. I mean, I just think it's Zeta's changed the game. I mean, we talked about that before, right? I mean, Zeta's changed the game. I mean, it's a huge deal. I know a bunch of people are hoarding Zetas, thinking that potentially they're going to come out with more Zetas. I think they're definitely coming out with more Zetas. I think you're probably every new character we see that comes out and every rework character we see that comes out is probably going to come out with a Zeta. But whether it's a leader or a unique, and there's all kind of debates of whether you Zeta a unique or whether you Zeta the leader. I mean, it's a big deal to talk about Zeta and a leader. That means you're with that leader now for a while, and you have to decide if that's what you really want to do. Anyway, I know we can go round and round on Zetas for forever. I mean, it's really a cool part of the game. I'm super excited that they added it. I mean, it's a pain in the rear to grind it, but I'm glad they added it, and I feel like they did the right thing.
Definitely. So what we'll do, we'll jump on to the first questions. So what I've got here, we've got Mike Hunt, and do you think the bounty hunters will be viable in the arena? And if so, who would you put in the squad?
Well, you got some pretty smart people. You got some pretty smart people like Maze Ducky who thinks that bounty hunters are going to be a real thing, and I don't know if he's right. I think that you're going to have you're going to have some trouble with that, but in certain areas. But he's basically saying it's Boba Fett, IG-88, Zam Wessel, Dengar, and Greedo. He's basically doing everybody but Cad Bane on that team.
Definitely.
I've been mildly impressed with Zam, more than I thought, but it takes a lot of setup to get some of that stuff right, with all of the bombs and stuff. So
it depends as well. They haven't got a Zeta at the moment, and I know RJ Brando runs the bounty hunter squad in his arena, and he kills it. He's got a really good setup. He's got good mods on him. He goes for that thermal detonators, those ability blocks, gets lots of turn meter. He's got loads of potency, so they've got lots of health, and it works. And the good thing at the moment is they haven't got any Zeta, so I don't know where that will go, because Boba has a Zeta, but he doesn't have a leader Zeta, because his leader is quite good. But we could see Jango Fett added to the game. That's going to probably happen someday. You've got Bosk, you Forloom, so there's a lot of bounty hunters out there that could completely change it up. There's loads.
I doubt you're gonna see them give Boba Fett a second Zeta.
Exactly,
the only character in the game that we have with two Zetas is Yoda, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
No, we've also got Jyn Erso. She's got a couple of them. One's to not be stunned, and the other one is the protection recovery. I've Zeta'd her. Yeah.
So you can just solo the raid.
Doesn't work in heroic quite the way it used to.
Not yet. You'll figure
it out. I mean, maybe it's really not great for the game to be able to have it where that timeout team works forever. It's really not great in the game to have it where people could solo on auto. I mean, it's like the Holy Grail, right? I mean, it's like finding the fountain of youth. We think it's this awesome thing, and then whenever you actually find it, you're like, oh, this is bad, actually. Like, this is probably not the best thing long term for the game if everybody can do this.
Yeah, because at the minute, isn't there some guilds are having the issue where it's getting determined by ally. Is it ally numbers?
Exactly. Oh my gosh, we had this
Player
huge
codes.
discussion about player IDs and the fact that one guy's player ID starts with a W and the other guy's player ID starts with an 8. And so if both of those guys solo the raid, then the guy with the 8 is always above the guy with the W. And it's like, why would I solo the raid if we have 50 people that could solo a heroic Rancor? Why would the guy that's always going to get 50th ever do it? He's going to solo the raid in order to get 50th spot? I mean, that's silly.
Definitely.
Silly.
Have you come across any bounty hunters, Ranger?
No, I haven't. I didn't really think it was a viable team. I mean, I guess it could be, but I think people typically, we looked at the meta report last Wednesday on our show, and no one's running it. I mean, even maybe one person is, but I mean, it's just everyone's using the standard teams that we looked at the new squad leader breakdown. It was a lot of typical teams that everyone's running right now. So I haven't seen it. So I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting concept, but I mean,
it's a long farm too.
Yeah, it's a really long farm.
I mean, you're trying to get Zam. I mean, if you're free to play or mostly free to play, you're trying to get Dengar and Zam Wessel out of guild shipments. And anybody who's gotten characters out of guild shipments knows that it takes quite a long time. It's not only are you waiting until you get enough guild currency to do it, but you're also waiting for that character to actually show up. I mean, it's like if you're a low pay player trying to get trying to get a clone team up can be a little bit challenging that same way.
Yeah.
Definitely. What about you, Warrior? Have you come across any bounty hunter squads?
Actually, not really. I've seen some video on it, and what it looks like to me is that it's offensively kind of like droids, really. They can cut through a team pretty quickly, efficiently, because you're operating it. But on defense, both they're defensively lacking, as well as the AI doesn't quite play them like you will. So with the combination of those two things, it's not really viable for like a defensive squad for Arena to try and stay in a top position. You kind of drop pretty fast. And that's only going off of a couple of individuals I know that have done. But Zam Wessel is definitely earning her keep more than ever now with the all of the reworks and everything. Zam's definitely, and I don't know, a lot of people don't realize some of the secretive little reworks they've done over the last few months, but Zam has been reworked, so she does work better now. And I think that the team's viable. It's just not a very defensively viable team.
Yeah, definitely. So what we're going to move on to our next question. We've got a question from Scopes of Exile. What I believe that he's written is, when do you think Mother Talsin will be available, or if?
Oh man, my Night Sister dreams would be
Next
totally
question.
complete with
No,
that.
let's move on. Next question, please. God, no.
I have wanted Night Sister to be viable since February of last year. I mean, it was the first team. It was the first kind of tribal synergy I went for in the game, mainly because the AI just kept giving me that team. I mean, kept giving me those character shards, and I thought, hey, that's 5 characters. It should be amazing. I'd like to see the Mother Talzin. I mean, it would be. I don't know. The interesting thing about that though is that they gave a lot of her quote unquote abilities in the game to old Daka. So you're kind of like, what abilities would they give Mother, and how would that work? I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it as like a Palpatine type event or a Yoda type event for Mother. And I'd really like to. I guess she's gonna have to be kind of a, not really like a big attacker, but somehow she'd have to bring that whole team together. She'd probably have to have some kind of unique that gave everybody more power, because 2 of the Night Sisters, 5 of the Night Sisters have trouble with damage, with actually producing damage.
Right.
And so you'd hope that she'd have some kind of a unique which would increase damage or something.
Cool. What about you, Warrior?
As far as the Night Sisters, they're utilitarian. I think if you cherry pick a particular one, one of my free to play legends comes out of there, and that's old Daka. She'll get you through the dark side missions from start to finish as long as she's on your team and maxed out, max her out as you're going up the levels. And same with Royal Guard, of course. He's another free to play guy, but old Daka is phenomenal. She's utilitarian though. And so that's the issue is together their synergy's lacking, but individually, I've seen certain teams cherry pick a particular, like a Saj and use her for a specific purpose, and they can build an entire team around it. But it takes so much work and effort with the other four that I really don't see much value in them. It's old Daka really for me as far as value.
Fair dues, fair dues. So our next question we've got is from Cam, and it looks like the question is, what is our opinion that would be the best mods for a Zeta Vader? Who wants to go first on that one?
I would say potency because you want his stuff to land in speed, of course. Those two definitely.
So my opinion, this is Warrior, is I got him all up and I thought he was the bomb, right? And then I tried to use him, and unfortunately, his critical chance is horrific, and he's not really that much fun when he throws a Culling Blade for 18,000 on a non-crit. When you want it to be 96,000 on a crit or whatever. So it was just so devastating that every time I would try to do something cool for video, especially, and then I'd get some junk. I'm like, it sucks. So I actually put critical chance on him to get his critical chance over 50%, which was a chore, by the way, because he has such low critical chance. And so, but once I got it over 50%, then it became more consistent and he became more fun to play. Like I said, nothing's more fun than setting up a Culling Blade and then throwing it and watching on an arena battle 100K. It's really hard to get that
Once
500K.
you got someone, it's amazing.
Yeah, so it's a critical chance for me is almost required, or you're not going to have fun with Vader the way you want to.
Yeah, that's it. I would always say critical chance is important because when some people put critical damage on him, but in a Zeta, you don't need critical damage. Those dots are going to look after Vader himself. You want to get him critical chance, and definitely you want to have some potency, like a potency cross that I would personally put on Vader, so I can get some dots down, and I can use his Culling Blade and get the crit, because you could have all the crit damage in the world on Vader, but if he's not critting, then you're wasting that mod, and that's what it is, That's why I'd always go for the crit chance and put the crit chance triangle on him instead of a crit damage. Would that be something you'd do, Warrior? Would you go for the...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the potency cross. And so with my Vader, I have him well balanced. I mean, I've got a speed arrow on him because he's a turd in speed, really. He's really, really slow. So you got to get him faster. And then, of course, I did critical chance in the triangle, and then I did potency in the plus. And then I just did for my mod sets critical chance because I wanted to make sure that we got that critical damage going off, though that was the biggest thing. But yeah, I totally agree.
What I've got is the next question from Austin. In my arena, the top guy is using a Qui-Gon Jinn Zeta with a tenacity mod. I don't really get why this is working for him. Anyone want to go on this? Or Warrior, did you want to go on this question, or Grande?
Did Grande die? What happened?
No, I'm here. I'm still here.
You're so quiet. It's freaking me out.
It's like 9 a.m. for him. Leave him alone.
Hey, listen, I'm participating and drinking coffee. Get in there and do something with your life, Grande. Answer a question.
Why does that work for tenacity mods? I'm not 100% sure why that works. Just to be totally honest, I don't know what he's doing that makes that work. I mean,
I missed
maybe
the question.
He's running tenacity.
I'll go over the question. So in my arena, the top guy is using a Qui-Gon Jinn Zeta with tenacity mods. I don't really get why this is working for him. So, did you want me to take this question, or did you want to?
Oh, I'm happy to, but you can say as well. Anytime you have tenacity, I mean, you've got content data. You're making a team. It's really, really hard to put down those negative status effects, and so obviously he's able to kind of prevent from having to cleanse in the first place by preventing taking those up. So I'm guessing he's going the tenacity route. I saw a team that was kind of cool. It actually had a Luke lead, and that gives plus 40 tenacity to the whole team. And doing things like that just really curb a ton of the negative status effects. But I think if it's working, it's not the tenacity, to be honest. I think that that's cool and that helps him. But really, he's winning because he's probably got an uber fast team. That's probably the case. Because a Zeta leader of Qui-Gon Jinn makes everything 240 to 300, which is just stupid.
And all the offense they're getting 3 times their offense on their speed stat as
And
well.
the foresight every
Yeah.
time someone dies, anyone dies. Yeah.
We've got a question from you, Oliver Lee. Who is the best bounty hunter? Who wants to take this one?
Boba Fett, but that's from just personal things. I just think Boba Fett's hands down. I mean, there's a couple of them that are really good, but for me, I think what Boba Fett can do, he's so pimp. His abilities, everything. For me, I would rank him number 1 out of all the bounty hunters.
Yeah, it's pretty much like this. The slogan that I've got for my Boba Fett: if you have a problem, and maybe you could find him, maybe you should hire Boba Fett.
That's right. See how he brought in the A-Team reference?
That's it.
People try to go in, what is he saying? What is this 18 thing he's doing?
Right, next question I'm looking for now. Let's have a look. Question. This is from Mark. So I'm currently running a Boba lead, Lando, Wiggs, and is that Han? So yeah, so Stormtrooper Han. Who should I be replacing Lando with? TIE Fighter Pilot, B2, Anakin, or any others? Thanks.
It depends on who you're going against.
That's a whole day.
Yeah, but B2 is a one size fits all on any team. B2 is an equalizer. If you're going against a team that's got Chase or any kind of buffing and things like that, or tanks and taunts, and it doesn't really matter what you're going against. B2 kind of levels the playing field. So I mean, I don't know what you're going against, but if you're going against some of those buffing teams, I would definitely throw B2 in there.
Yeah, definitely. I would use B2 as well because that team right there is lacking really any dispel. So on defense, all you have to do is throw 2 tanks up and that team's going to get quite stuck, and then Han's going to probably be dispelled quite quickly. Although that's what I would do, is dispel him and then you're free to target whoever.
Yep.
Let's have a look. So we've got another one from Mike. I am thinking of a Boba lead, Dengar Zam. Then I am struggling over who to take the last 2 spots. Who wants to go with this one? So
I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
so Bubba lead with Zam and Dengar.
Yeah, and then you've got the 2 last spots. I would probably say would be you're going to need to have really what's going to be helpful. If you're not wanting to go a full bounty hunter team, you're going to need to have someone that's going to be able to dispel, maybe B2, and then a tank to take away any damage, because there would be 3 in there. You've got B2 then that's going to allow you to multi-attack with Dengar and Sam. And then you've also got a tank to try and protect them, either if it's an auto tank or just someone like Sunfak.
Yeah, I think Sunfak would be really good with that team.
Yeah, I would do Sunfak, and then I would have a Dispeller. Actually, for your team, maybe someone, I know this sounds crazy, but maybe a Rex in the background or Admiral Akbar, just so Admiral Akbar would give those extra turns and stuff. That would be kind of crazy on an already fast team.
Right, so have you got any input on that, Grande?
I actually dropped on the call and just got back. So
okay, we'll move on to the next question then. Let's have a look. So what is your thoughts on Asajj Ventress as a secret? Beep, beep, beep. But that would be kick-ass.
Oh. I thought you were trying to do your R2-D2 impersonation.
No, I suck at that. I'm never going there again. It was a low day that day.
No, don't give up. If you have a dream, Smithie, you should go for it.
What to be a droid?
Yeah, just practice, listen to the sounds, and then when you get on the stream, you can do it right.
That's true. I used to be able to do a Jar Jar Binks, but everyone hates Jar Jar Binks now.
I know, but see, then you can use it for people that annoy you, and then you can do the voice.
I could, but it's been such a long time. I don't know if I've got the talent anymore.
Oh, you can do it. I have faith in you. But moving back to the question.
Yeah. So, are you aware of Ventress's tweak that she's had? Like her slight rework recently with the change on a unique.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if she is viable. I mean, the spell is always nice and everything that they've done, little tweaks. I'm just not sold on Ventress. And I know Grande loves her to death because she's a nice sister.
I do like Ventress, and I can tell you for a long time before B2, I used her. I think she's not, she even with the fact that she got faster, and and the fact that there's some ways to get extra speed based on the amount of buffs at the start of the game. She's not going to go as much as B2. So if you're looking for an AOE dispeller, the choice is really B2. B2 is tankier.
Yeah.
B2 is going to go faster. B2 is going to dispel more. So can you somehow, if you put it in an insane amount of resources into Asajj Ventress, make her where she's kind of, sort of, maybe, on that same level, and she's got some things, that she does, like the stun and some other things where you put some high potency on her that you can get off of her, sure. But it's not going to be the same. B2 is really your choice for AOE stuns. For AOE dispel. Yeah, because your other dispel are Echo, which works on a clone team, but you could really slot B2 into any team. You could slot B2 into Boba Fett team. You could slot B2 into an Empire team. You could slot B2 into a Rebel team. But you can't really slot Asajj Ventress into every team, and just doesn't have the HP that you're going to get out of a B2. So that would be the route I would tell you. And you got a lot of competition in Arena for where those Arena tokens need to go. I mean, if we start looking at characters in Arena, that would be a better choice than Asajj Ventress. I mean, we've easily got Stormtrooper Han, Akbar, Mace Windu, Leia. I mean, we've got a lot of potentially Tarkin for his ship. Potentially a bunch of other characters. So, she's probably 4th or 5th or 6th on the list. B2 is probably, whenever you're looking at characters from Cantina, B2 is probably 3rd on the list or maybe 4th on the list. And you've got so much more energy that you can use so many more resources. You could buy that energy with crystals and you could get it a whole lot faster. So I think that's really probably the best choice.
Definitely. Is there any input that you want to put in on that, Warrior?
No, I already said my piece with Asajj earlier.
let's not ask Grande any more Night Sister questions, Ventress questions.
Yeah, right.
Once you go down that path, forever will control your destiny.
So we've got next question by Gavin. So, hi, this is the first time I'm joining live. Well, thank you for joining us, Gavin. In the heroic AAT, I do about 1% in phase 3. What is the best squad for phase 3? I'm 120 shards from a 7-star Finn, and I'm farming Zetas and already have a 7-star Vader. I'm loads Chirpatine.
Well, he loathed it, but I hate it.
Loads. I'm loads Chirpatine.
Okay.
Maybe that's... I don't have Chirpatine. I'm not sure. Oh, I don't know. So, who wants to go on the best team?
Besides Palpatine Chirpa?
Got to be TIE Fighter pilot.
Yeah, it's got to be TIE pilot with what? Sunfac?
Sunfac, Han ST. I would normally use Dacha and Jawa, or that's 2 teams you've got straight there. You don't have to use Han ST, but it does help.
It does. Turn meter's always good.
Yeah, but it depends if you're using it with a chirper as well.
Yeah.
The Maul team sort of works. It's not as great as it is in a non-heroic, but it does work. There's also the potential there that you could there's a there's some teams where actually you can run an Ugnut, believe it or not, in phase 3.
You can indeed.
And make that work. You know, and believe it or not, there's even I've seen some videos of an evasion lead work in there, like an old Ben worked in a phase 3 team. And phase 3, you also have turn meter reduction, so you could potentially run some version of a turn meter reduction team with a Tebow lead. I've seen a Tebow, you know, TIE Fighter pilot team work relatively well there. But if you're really looking for the big damage, it's gonna be the Chirpantine or the Palpatine TIE Fighter pilot.
And the Vader Zeta as well.
That's right. There's another one.
The Vader Zeta is pretty impressive. Probably about what you could get from a Chirpantine, but you'd need to have a Zeta on that for it to work.
You know, I think I've seen some scores pushing 2 mil in that team, close. So, you know, you might be able to do around 2 million. Warrior, have you seen better than 2 mil in a phase 2 team?
Phase 3.
No. Phase 3, no, I haven't personally. But my question, I guess, to anyone that asks, like, I don't want to do X team because X team's stupid. I want to do a different team. I want to be creative. I appreciate that. I want to give you props for that thought process. But why? I mean, if something's not broke, don't fix it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know that Tebow going stealth as a lead gets you through a soloing the Rancor raid, doesn't everybody follow suit and do that because they want the same results? I mean, it wasn't, people don't go, well, I don't want to do Tebow. I mean, that's stupid. I want to be something creative. And I like I said, I get it. I appreciate those people out there that want to be creative. But sometimes if it's not broke, don't fix it. If you know that the Chirpa Palp thing works in 3, it probably would behoove you to just embrace it and focus on those characters for that phase. And work them up so you can participate, because otherwise you're going to struggle with a lot of other characters, trial and error, and find that you're still getting mediocre results. And so I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of really, really, really smart and really, really rich people that have figured this out, and they've give us the knowledge, and that knowledge it is what you make of it. If you choose to ignore it, then that's on you. And if you want to be creative and make a mediocre hit, then that's fine. I mean, I've seen a Tebow lead on phase 3 that did decent, but it's still not as effective. So, which are you going to invest in? Now, if you already have the Rancor characters and you're trying to utilize them into this new raid because you don't want to have to farm all new characters, then that is excellent thinking and do it that way. But to say, oh, well, this is, what the meta is, and I hate the meta because the meta is dumb. Well, the meta is just a reflection of people out there playing,
That's it. That's spot on. Right, so we'll move on to our next question here. So we've got one from Emma Fish. My question is, with an Empire team, Palp, Vader, Shore Trooper, TIE Fighter Pilot, and Boba, who is the best leader, as well as who should I Zeta first with Boba or Vader? You've got both. Have you got both of these Zetas? Who's got a Boba and who's got a Vader in the group currently?
I've got both, but I don't have them Zeta. So, I'm trying to think.
I fight a team that's a Vader Zeta, Vader, Boba Fett, Sid Zeta team. I fight it every day, and I will tell you that out of that team, probably that guy has said on offense that he feels like that the Zeta is better, but on defense, I will tell you that his Boba Fett Zeta is what really is the most annoying, at least for me. So that's basically saying that the Vader Zeta is better for him on offense, and the Boba Fett Zeta is better for him on defense.
What about you, Warrior? You still there, buddy?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't know. It's 12 of one, half dozen of the other. It's like, what's your goal again? I mean, I personally still haven't done Vader. Why I could do that, and I could make some really cool videos of him doing 500,000 damage and things like that. He's viable in the arena for sure, but it's not the character that I was wanting to go for. And so, Boba Fett, I think, since he's so utilitarian now and usable in so many teams and in all the raids, and I think he's almost more usable than Vader. Giving him that protection ability to regenerate that it's so freaking annoying if you've ever gone against it, that I think you'd realize the value in that. But that appeal, like, I want to do fat damage. So if that's you, then I would just go for Vader. I mean, if you want to throw a saber and do a 500,000 damage on a raid, that's what you want, then I would go Vader. But otherwise, I would do Boba for the utilitarian purposes of being able to use him everywhere.
See, this was what I was looking at, because when I got these Zetas refunded, the big appeal to me was getting Vader was versus these timeout teams. I know that it's not, for me, it's probably not going to be the strongest in the arena, because there's a lot of RNG with that turn meter removal. You could set your team up perfectly, but you're putting in a lot of RNG with the dots going down. You've also got then the turn meter removal. And what I looked at is, I have my team set up, my roster. I've started farming mods for about 3 weeks. And my team set up that they've all got mods on them. If I get this Vader Zeta over Barriss, I'm going to have to go in, take all my best mods off all the characters that I use in raids to put on Vader. Then I'm back to square one again, where I'm going to have to start mod swapping all the time. So that's why I went with Zeta. Even though it'd be nice to have that score, to go for Barriss over Zeta, it'd be nice to have the score with Vader, but in the long run, it's such going to be a pain moving all these mods around and trying to make him the fastest.
And it's expensive. Can I
Yeah.
just tell you how much I loathe moving?
Listen, I
moving
did
mods?
it. You could do it too.
Right. I mean, it's fine. It's fine to do it once. Maybe move mods once a month or move mods once every 2 weeks. But I know guys that move mods every raid.
No.
And
I do that.
And not only does he move them every raid, there's one guy that moves mods 4 times a raid. He moves mods for his P1 team on an AAT. Then he moves it for his P2 team, then his P3 team, and then his P4 team. And I'm like, bro, it's costing you like 1 million credits every time we run an HAAT for you to move your mods. Why don't you just farm mods? And get some halfway decent mods and throw up all the other characters rather than move them, because moving mods is a pain in the butt, and then there's always that chance that you're not going to get them in the right order again when it's finally time. And then you're also taking a risk in arena moving mods if you're moving mods off your arena characters and leaving them naked for a little bit while you're running an HAAT that somebody's going to hit you while the mods are off. Anyway.
That's it, yeah. I was moving them around constantly, and it was annoying, so I started farming some. Haven't got the best mods. I've got some mods that are a little bit better than what I had on my arena, so I'd take what they had, and then I'd put on my secondary characters and go from there, really. So I'm still farming them. I think yesterday I got all the greys. I think I did 18, and it was just all greys. I was just like, what? No blues.
I saw that photo. You sent a photo of all the... And I was like, I think I would break my phone if I saw all the gray mods you got. I would literally, we'd be going to the store to buy a new phone.
There was like 7 5 dots in there, but they were all grey. And I was just like, what? I can't use them. There's not going to be any improvement to what I've got. So I'll probably just sell them for credits or something like that when I get down the line.
And I'll tell you about, we had a credit heist that I got a... I got a really sweet credit heist score, and I spent all that on leveling up some characters that I had wanted to level up for a long time, and I'm sitting here with like 2.5 mil, and then what shows up in the mod shop, but a 3.91 mil mod that I really wanted to buy, and then I don't have the credits for it, and I'm just like, oh, you got to be kidding me! It's almost like they do that on purpose to tempt you to go buy more credits. And I was like, I'm just gonna let that one pass. I'm not gonna go spend $25 on credits to go buy that mod.
I don't get mods out of the mod shop ever. I'm sure there's some really phenomenal ones in there. I know people that literally will like refresh it the 80 times or 100 times you can do it in a day. It's just absolutely crazy. I don't do that. When they drop those mod packs, you get some decent mods in there, honestly, and it's a great way to get the multicolors that you're wanting. But when I farm, I don't know if this is just me or what, but when I farm mods, I get tons of 3 and 4 dots that will drop with great speed secondaries, but I can't seem to get a speed secondary to drop on a 5 to save my life. So I've got, tons of like 6 speed and 9 speed secondaries, but to get those coveted 15 plus speed secondaries or those 20 plus speed secondaries, they're far and few between. And if you're farming for them, you're probably screwed.
What we got then, we'll go on to the next question. Actually, I like this question, but I'm going to direct to you first because you're already going to know my answer to this. You, Oliver Lee, has said, what would you guys love to see? What character, would you guys love to see added to the game? Who wants to go first on that one?
Oh, Smithy, I know you're in love with Luke Skywalker.
Oh, well,
Samurai outfit.
we know you want Jar Jar Binks, So.
Yeah. It's OG Luke. I would be happy if they did a Return of the Jedi Luke, or if they wait for the new movie, Episode 8, and put him out there. I think that's a character people have been begging for. Luke with a lightsaber. Give us Luke with a damn lightsaber. What is going on?
Definitely. I play Force Arena as well, and Luke's got a lightsaber in that. And guess who I use in that game? Luke with a lightsaber. I just abuse it. Right. That's all I use. I've leveled him up to level 2. I'm trying to get Old Ben so I can run him an Old Ben in Force Arena. So yeah, that's all I use. I don't go dark side. It's just Luke, Luke, Luke. I'll even sit there for 10 minutes trying to find a match because all I want to do is play as Luke.
The obsession is strong in this one.
Well, it does. I think the message comes up. Matchmaking is taking a while. Maybe you should change your leader. Click here. I'm like, nope. I'm waiting. I'm gonna sit here all day till I find a match because I'm playing as Luke. So, what about you, Grande? Is it going to be Mother Talzin?
Oh no, it's I'd like to see him kind of finish off tribal synergies a little bit. I'd like to see an additional Ewok. I'd like to see maybe another another Geonosian. I'd like to see him bring a few more First Order or a few more Resistance characters into the game. Give us some more options there. I just feel like we should they should be a little bit more well-rounded in some of those areas. There's some characters that people have been begging for a long time. Potentially another Wookiee that's not Clone Wars Chewbacca. I think you could go round and round on characters that we should see in the game, and I think that's kind of where I'd like to see it. Is just see him kind of round out those tribal synergies. There are some characters that people have been begging for a long time. Why not just go ahead and put them in the game? I feel like that. At some point, if I was looking at this just from a business standpoint, your customer is begging you for something. You know what? Why not go ahead and give your customer what they want?
Yeah, Smithie D's begging for Luke, but I still ain't seen him yet.
I know. What's up? Another character I was just thinking about recently that they should add, just to honor her memory, General Leia.
That would be sick, sweet, as Resistance, and make her a fleet commander. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I think that would
dress her up like when she was a slave.
Slave Leia fleet commander.
Be a soldier for that. All right, man, attention! And she comes walking in the slave Leia outfit. What are you looking at, soldier?
You could put Jabba the Hutt in the game. I mean, there's lots of characters that feel like that should be in the game, and I don't know why they don't do that. To be honest, I mean, if I have a customer that comes in the door and says, "Hey, I'll pay you $700 for this," I'm like, "Sweet. How many would you like? And would you like fries with that? And would you like to supersize it?" I mean, it's just, if somebody's willing to say they'll pay money for something, then let's just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Uriel?
I'll say, and I think Smithy D's starting to get a taste of this through his approval process with EA. But EA there's this political side of all of these, game makers, and they've got to go through all of the hoops and stuff like that. And when you're dealing with another entity, because this is Star Wars, right? So you got to go through that chain of command. And what's happening is, unfortunately, if they want to make changes, let's say they want to rework a character, even a character that's already in the game, they've got to get these approvals. through Lucasfilm to make sure that it's honoring and approved through them. And so everything has to basically be built and then sent, and they have to see it and approve it, and then it's got to go back, and they've got to work it and make sure things like it's just a mess. And so it takes months to like rework a single character, let alone bring in new characters. They, when I visited Capital Games, they had a wall of like every Star Wars character I've heard people say they want, and they're like, someday, this is our like goal wall kind of thing, this is what we would love to have in the game. So their hearts are where our hearts are. It's just a very long, arduous political process to bring characters in. I think that they had picked a set of characters and launched the game with them, and maybe they could have changed who they initially launched the game with. But now that they have who they have, my opinion is don't bring in new characters yet, is rework the existing characters to make them where there's more balance in the game, so that we don't have 25 characters at the bottom at level 1 not being utilized. Really, you want all the characters to be maxed out and being utilized, or there to be that pull of who should I be going for. And really, if you want to go for a Night Sisters team, they should be strong enough that you could do them and they're viable, but that's not the case yet. So that's why their focus, if you haven't noticed, and I'm sure you all have, their focus has been rework, because they really, really, really want to make. I mean, I used to tell everyone Boba Fett was the biggest turd in the game. I hated him. I thought he was the biggest waste of time. And now they've reworked him, and he's one of the best. So that's the idea: is first go through the existing characters, get them fixed, and then we can go back and start adding characters. In the meantime, they can work with Lucasfilm and figure out what are the most popular characters to bring in. And I know that they have that excitement like we do, and I know they will be, because they're polling us and they're asking us, what do we want in the game? So it's going to come. But
It's interesting.
yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that. I would probably say that's true. There's 100 characters in the game, and you could probably fold it in half and realize that there are 50 characters that really don't have a purpose right now. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So maybe Warrior's right with the reworks. Maybe that's really where it should be. I mean, I would be a little bit bummed if you saw a character like Coruscant Underworld Police, or you saw a character like Mob Enforcer become more OP than Yoda. That would be a little bit disappointing. But,
just a little bit.
but Yoda should be more OP than Royal Guard for sure. And he's not. That's a little unfortunate.
That's true. But if you haven't already guessed it already, mine would be Luke Skywalker. But not just any Luke Skywalker. I don't want Grandpa or OG Luke Skywalker. I want the Jedi like. I just want the Jedi. I want Jedi Luke. That's it. Jedi Luke.
So badass. He's like super powerful in the Force. Like he could just look at you.
You don't know that. He stood there in the film for like 10 seconds, frowned down. That was it. I want the Luke Skywalker that stood up to the Emperor. That's what I want.
Yeah,
but
no, I'm kind of going with the Legends canon. That's no longer canon, but the Legends canon. My God, he was so ridiculous.
He was.
What about Revan? We hadn't even talked about Revan. I mean, that would be sick.
Oh yeah, but he's not canon, so I would love. We've talked about this before.
HK-47.
No, he got in somehow. I can't remember. We talked about this before. I forgot how
we have talked about it before. HK-47.
Yeah, but Revan is not. He was supposed to be in that one episode with Yoda where he fights. He has the encounter with Bane. Revan was supposed to be in there as well, but I'm hoping Rebels somehow brings Revan in. They brought some of the characters in from the Legends already, like with Thrawn. And I'm really hoping that they can bring Revan in, because that would be sick, awesome. Because Revan is one of my favorite characters ever. Him and Mara Jade.
About characters, all of the Rebel characters, from Star Wars Rebels, the movie. The cartoon show. Seeing all of those characters.
It's animated. How dare you call it a cartoon, sir?
Sorry. But if you want to talk about, we have movies once a year. Maybe once every 2 years, but you have a cartoon that's on like every Saturday, or whenever it's Wednesday. I don't remember what day it shows up. All I know is my TiVo says it's ready for me to watch it.
That's right.
So you've got a bunch of people who were excited and getting involved in the Star Wars universe based on that Cartoon Network show.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that those people want to see those characters that they watch every week in the game. And it sure seems like that would be a certain level of synergy as far as getting people excited and getting new players into the game that I would like to see, and maybe younger players.
Well,
I mean, a bunch of us are old farts. I mean, a bunch of us,
well,
we're 30, 35 plus, right? And we're
Yeah,
all
I'm
playing this
30.
game. Well, and it'd be neat to see, a bunch of younger people, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14-year-old, 15-year-olds, get excited about a Disney game, and how are they going to get excited about it? They're going to get excited about it because they're watching a cartoon every week.
if you say cartoon one more time, I'm gonna make you grow your beard again.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with cartoons, man. I watch Dragon Ball Z all the time. And,
Well, that's
you know.
That's an anime. Let's get our language right here, folks. Let's just not just be calling stuff something it's not. Okay, I swear. But also, you know what, Grande? I just thought about this. We already did the work for EA. We already did a whole thing. We did a whole list of all the Rebels characters we created. We even did one. We did a Kaden 3D version. It was a prelogue. He did the actual animation, a 3D character that you could put in the game. And
I mean,
we
you want to
did
make
all the
Sith
stats
awesome?
and
You want to make
gears.
Sith awesome? Put some Inquisitors in the game. I mean, why do we not have Inquisitors?
Yeah.
I think there's like 7 or 9 Inquisitors. We could make Sith amazing with Inquisitors.
Fifth brother, seventh sister, the Grand Inquisitor.
That's it. Go straight in with Vader Zeta. That would, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be
It
amazing.
would work amazing with Vader Zeta.
But I
Vader
think the
Zeta
problem.
and 4 Inquisitors.
But I think the problem is because it's an ongoing show, unlike the Clone Wars. It might give.
I mean, I get your
It'd be
point.
really difficult. I know. I'm just saying why they're not.
Hold on. I mean, you got a bunch of Inquisitors that have died. It's not like they're gonna come back and all of a sudden get some.
Don't say that because
you don't
Maul
know
came
that.
back.
Yeah, Maul
Yeah,
come
you don't
back,
know
yeah.
that.
You don't know.
Well,
that.
Maul's a different character. We have Maul in the game, and they're,
But not the new Maul.
Yeah.
Not Old Master.
Yeah, you mean we don't have Maul with spider legs?
He hasn't had spider legs in a long time. He has nice, bionicle legs that he uses. He looks normal.
Yeah.
Warrior, what do you think about this conversation?
I think I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next question. So we've got a question from the Scary Orange. Are there any new ships coming? See, this question is I don't know. we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah,
We really don't.
We've talked about the data mine, but they could easily throw something. The data mine is really, really old at this point, and so they could easily throw in a completely new set of ships that we don't know anything about. We're supposed to get Newt Gunray. Who knows if that's going to really happen, or they're probably going to change the abilities completely on Newt Gunray. Potentially we're going to get some droid ships. Potentially we're going to get some other ships, but all of that is hearsay. I would say at the moment, keep farming your ships that you know are good that we have now. I think that with ships there are certain ships that are good and that are going to be good and that you could slot into almost any team. Keep working those ships. Another example of this with characters. Rex is good. You could throw Rex in a timeout team and Rex works. So, to say that, I think the same thing is true with ships. So I'd work with what we've got at the moment as far as ships are concerned.
Right. Okay. So what we're gonna do? We'll take one more question I've got here, then we'll start wrapping up, and we'll go from there because we're hitting the hour mark now. So we've got the last one here from Mike Hunt. With the Ewoks requirements in the Challengers event, do you think they will get a Zeta? If so, to who and what? Sorry for the easy questions. Lol. My thoughts on that would be, I think Wicket is going to probably have, Warwick Wicket is probably going to have the Zeta when they bring him out. Be the 5th Ewok, possibly. What's your guys on that? Thoughts?
Yeah, they really need a 5th Ewok, and then when they do, it would be the perfect time to bring in a really, crazy, amazing, awesome character, and then like Wicket, and then just do a slight reworks to the original 4, kind of like they've been doing with the other other teams like they did with Resistance, where they basically do a major rework on one character with a Zeta and then they move on to the other characters and give them slight tweaks to try to make them more effective. So I could see that happening for sure.
Fantastic. So, because it's coming to the end of the show, what I want now is, Warrior, where can we find you? Let us know about your channel.
So you just go to Warrior from Team Instinct on YouTube, and you can check me out. I've got over 180 videos. So check them out, and they've definitely progressed over the last few months from when I started. But check them out.
Yeah, and what we've also got as well, you don't have to go far and look for Warrior. His link to his channel is in the description below. So once you've finished this video, make sure you're going onto his channel, going onto Reality Skewed Gamers, and subscribing. You don't want to miss out on their great content. So, Grande and Ranger, where can we find you, and what is your channel about?
Go ahead, Grande. I did it last week. I'll let you do it this week.
So, Ranger and we stream on Reality Skewed Gamers. We have a stream every Wednesday where we kind of talk about what the meta report is. We talk about whatever the new the new release that we've got from the devs on the forums. We go over characters. We try to rework. Rework it and Rangers squads and Ranger ships, and we give him a lot of crap for having a junk account. And then we also
It's not a junk account. Shame on you.
And we always try to get him to pull chromiums or pull packs, because that's what everybody wants to see. Is they want to see Ranger pull packs. But anyway, we have a great time, and we laugh a lot, and we try to answer questions from the audience.
And you can find us on Reality Skewed Gamers right here on YouTube.
Fantastic. So it is the end of the show now, and come back next week. I'll have more information on my channel what time, because we will probably be rotating it, moving it around. It depends, we may do a really late one, we may do a really, really early one like this one. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today and supporting us with this. But make sure you are checking out Warrior and you're checking out the Reality Skewed Gamers and subscribing to their channels. I'm the Smithie D. Thank you for watching Jedi Academy.
Warrior out.